What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, August 18th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What's up? Flying in on our Top Gun jet. Flying right into another episode of Blinkers Off, and got our monster killers with us here with Stranger Things. So I'm good, man. Doing great. I'm having a better day than some. Not as good as others.
You're home. You got that's it. We're improved. I know that.
That's right. Yeah. And I think there are others out there that have had a worse day than me.
Okay. I think that's safe to. I think you have to. We'll just get right to it, I guess. It has to be like just when you thought no one could hate, like the worst trainer in the world has to be Bob Baffert, and then Chad Brown's like, "Hang on, let's see, hold my beer, right?" And here we go. We wake up.
I got to think Bob called Jill in and said, "Jill, quick, look at this.
You got to see this. You got to see this.
I'm number 2 all of a sudden."
Honestly, if you ran a poll, he would be more hated at this moment than Bob. I mean, it's bad. Not because I think the worst part has been like, there's been so much footage of him, you know what I mean? Like in court or, leaving court, being there, in handcuffs, it's just like, holy shit, like this is nuts. And then you start hearing the story about, him going after this girl and strangling her. And it's just like, I could text you guys. I was like, if you didn't know, like for instance, like my parents, if I showed a picture of this guy, it was like, they'd probably assume he's just some rando, you know what I mean? That's from our hometown that, like got arrested for domestic abuse. Like, no, this happens to be one of the best turf trainers, if not just trainers, period, of all time. It's crazy. Like he's at, and by the way, he's wearing slippers, a Pink Floyd shirt, and camo cargo shorts. I mean, who is this guy? Like, who is it?
I can't figure that out. The dress and how he was dressed was just like, what? Like, are you like 18 and back in 1990? Like, that's what it looked like. So that was strange. If you haven't heard, Chad Brown got arrested. I forget what the official term was, basically for choking someone, but obstruction of breathing or something like that, a misdemeanor, which I thought was interesting. Kind of find out, we saw the statement from the one that's accusing him of this. Basically, it's a on again, off again girlfriend that had a key to his place. So she goes over, presumably, opens the door, and he's with someone else. So evidently, all hell broke loose. And the alleged incident was Chad Brown pushed this person down the stairs, choked her, and then threw her out the door. So we'll have to see his side of the story, I guess. But immediately at first glance, that ain't good. That ain't good at all.
I was just scrolling through, seeing if there's any updates, and I saw David Grinning from DRF had reported a quote from Peter Brandt. Of course, this Peter Brandt that owns a ton of Chad's horses, and he says he's a smart guy. He would not do that unless he was provoked. He obviously was just protecting himself.
Unless it comes out that
she had like a knife or
dangerous weapon. I don't see how that's gonna fly, right? Like, okay, if she had a gun or a knife, okay, but I think that would have been known today, right?
I would think. I mean, I don't know. This is no matter what, though. Two things. One, the narrative's already set, and two, we won't think about it. Like, it'll just be a joke in a couple months. So because we know horse racing's not gonna do shit about it.
It doesn't seem like that's the case. It doesn't seem like horse racing is going to do much about it. There was no comment about that today. I guess by the letter of the law, it's a misdemeanor. So I don't know. Like, I'm sure other trainers, jockeys, people on the backside have had misdemeanors, right? That's the thing that was kind of odd to me. Don't you think that's odd that was labeled that? I mean, that seems like a pretty serious offense and an allegation. And It's like, oh, it's just a misdemeanor.
Well, yeah, the way it was worded, like you said, it was weird. It was like, it wasn't like, unless it's been upped, I don't know. I haven't seen, unless it's been like up to a domestic type, like abuse. It was had some weird label to it, like you said, limiting breathing capacity or something. It was like something totally weird that feels like you could get to like a fat kid sit on someone's chest,
Yeah, I know.
Like, no, like he kicked her down or pushed her downstairs supposedly and choked her. That seems a little bit more intense than what obstruction of breathing. That's the word. So
let me throw it to you like this. All the stories we've heard from people that I'm not going to repeat because it's all hearsay and we don't know if it's true or not, but forget about what happened today, but kind of what we've heard about him, how he handles his business, how he may treat other people, we'll say. Were you surprised by any of this?
No. Honestly, yeah, there's only so much I probably can elaborate to that comment, but I just, when I saw it, I was like, not necessarily like totally shocked. Now I was hoping, obviously, we would never have that happen because, I mean, shit, that's. I think the part about this that just is so mind blowing to me is just the fact that it's like, I mean, obviously he's an amazing trainer, amazing on turf, but gosh, this year, has he had a better stock of 3-year-olds on the dirt? I mean, we're talking about how many horses he has and how many he's going to have in the Travers, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a sec. It just seems like you wouldn't, even if like he showed up in court, I don't know, maybe it's just me. If he showed up in court like he was all, in a suit and he was very like, he had a couple lawyers with him, Bob Baffert-ish, just very like presentable. But it's like, dude, you don't even look like the guy that has Zandon or early, or name a horse. I mean, it just blows your mind. I can't piece this guy with that guy.
I agree. And you know what? Another thing that was weird that they had the footage of him leaving like the courthouse, and I'm watching. I'm like, that looks like downtown. That's weird. And so I look it up. The courthouse is on the main street. Did you know that?
No, I mean, it looked like it, like I said, but I didn't know that. Yeah, no.
Could you imagine, like, you went to go get a coffee, before the races, just chilling out, maybe doing a little shopping or whatever. And you're walking, you're like, is that Chad Brown with like cameras in his face? Like, what the hell is going on? And it's like, is that the courthouse? I mean,
yeah. Well, and I think to a little bit to what Truth Exposed, what she's, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, like, again, like I said, like, we don't know exactly what happened. We just know what stories have been told. My point is, and that we'll let it all play out, obviously, but my point is, like, I just can't quite figure out how these two people, like, if you're this guy that's training these horses and you are literally, I mean, he's a handful of like 3 or 4 guys in training that go hand in hand with horse racing. And if you have that guy, you can't even be associated with an incident like this, whether you are defending yourself by pushing, the fact that you have an ex-girlfriend that's whatever happened, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, I just don't, there needs to be some sort of life-altering situation. Like, I feel like someone close to him in his life decisions maybe needs to have some sort of like, whether this was how it played out or not, you need to take yourself out of these situations. And it just seems like it's all kind of surrounding him in his personal life.
A couple of rules to kind of, or lessons to learn for all of us out there. Well, maybe not all of us, but people that need to hear this. You probably shouldn't get involved with people you work with. And I think he has a habit of doing that, number one. And number two, if you are somebody of note, don't be so sloppy, right? Don't be so sloppy.
Yeah.
And I think both of those things, probably something he's gotten away with for a long time. And it's just more of backstretch rumor and talk within racing. And that sloppiness finally caught up with him in this spot, right? I mean, that's what it is to me. It's like, I don't necessarily think like Well, I'm not even gonna say that because I don't really know what happened. I don't know what happened, but if you just aren't so darn sloppy and you kind of just stay away from the help, it might help your situation a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's like the bottom line. I mean, if say what you want about uh Bob Baffert and all the things that he's been, had been gone through, but dude handled the shit, man. Like he did it, they handled it as best. Like it was under the radar as much as possible. Like he handled it as much as you possibly could. The most like you knew that's effing Bob Baffert handling this as his team. This seems like we know thousands of people, you know what I mean, that are trying to get in horse racing. The personal stuff that surrounds this guy if something like that happened to one of the guys we know, these randoms that are just starting or whatever, have two horses, you're like, oh yeah, of course. Like that doesn't surprise, but this doesn't go with, like you said, handle your shit a little bit more. So
yeah,
it's just weird. It's crazy.
You can't operate a sloppy shop when you're like that big, right? And especially, like I said, if it was like a smaller trainer, it wouldn't even be a story. In some regard, it would be a story, but we wouldn't be talking about it.
Right. So. Well, somehow we found a way to make Bob Baffert the good guy in horse racing. So congrats to that. And thank you, Chad Brown, for that. We'll see how that plays out. Speaking of Chad Brown, and that's the other thing we're going to find out. I mean, obviously Chad Brown has, any turf stakes race, basically, especially grade 1 turf at Saratoga. He's got 10 horses in the race. Seems like at least 2 or 3. Obviously got the Travers coming up next weekend where he's got 2 or 3 in the race. So like, we'll see how this plays out. What kind of action is going to be taken, if at all? How long is this going to take, to handle that? We'll see. But as of now, this is the way it's going to shake out. So let's talk a little bit about that Travers. Another probable list came out today. I think it's 9 now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9. So Ain't Life Grand, our boy Ain't Life Grand. Cannot wait to go watch him do that. Artorias, Chad Brown, Charge It, Cyberknife, Early Voting, Epicenter, Gilded Age, Rich Strike, and Zandon. So yeah, 3 Chad Browns in the race. Thoughts, Halterman? I mean, this field, it's 9 horses, and no offense to Gilded Age, other than him, every single horse is coming into this race off of massive type wins and setups and Derby winners and Preakness winners. And I mean, the list goes. And if O'Donegal was healthy, we'd have Belmont winners. It's an unbelievable lineup. Kind of feels like we talked about it all year, where it's like we still don't know really who's best because the 3-year-old circuit or the Triple Crown was such a mess. This is certainly going to help get some answers, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is the field we want, and like I said, a field of 9, and you got everybody but the Belmont winner, and he would be here, but he's injured. So it just feels like this is going to be fantastic in every way. And we have our special rooting interest as well with Ain't Life Grand that makes it even more special for us. So this is a fantastic Travers. I know last year we had a Cinch Quality, that headline horse, and he was going to be really, really tough to beat. Where this year, man, Epicenter is going to be the favorite, but there's a ton of different ways you can go here. There's opportunities, and I think it's just going to be a fascinating race. I hope we can go short in other races, and I think you need to go deep in this race. So the way it's going to set up right now, this looks like it's going to be a real classic.
I mean, you just go through the field, Ain't Life Grand, or Iowa Derby winner, Artorias, the Curlin winner, Charge It. You can Dwyer winner, I guess, for him. Haskell winner for Cyberknife. Early Voting, the Preakness winner. Epicenter, Jim Dandy winner. Rich Strike, of course, the Derby winner. Zandon, the Bluegrass. I mean, it's like you don't. This is one of the more deeper Travers that I can remember. That in terms of just top to bottom spread out, and whether you like a horse, like Rich Strike or not, he adds this total element of you have no idea what you're going to get out of him. And he is, and you can't take it away from him, the Derby winner. And so the fact that I wondered the other day, I was wondering, like, what do you think the highest odds of a Derby winner in the Travers has been? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got to think that Rich Strike is going to be one of the higher priced Derby winners in the Travers?
Well, that's a great question. I have no idea off the top of my head what the answer of that would be. Yeah, he's going to be double digits. I'm sure there's probably a Derby winner or two that has been. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I mean, he really, in all honesty, he needs to be 15, 20 to 1 in this field. He really does. And I don't know that the reality of it will be that he will be that price, but he needs to definitely be a double digit priced against this group for sure. And other than the Kentucky Derby, he has absolutely zero races that make any sense for him to win a race like this and beat these horses. It kind of reminds me of the race today. I think it was the fourth race with Mexican Wonder Boy. He was in there with horses that had been really juiced up buyers the last couple of times, but they had no other races on their past performances that said they could compete with him. That's kind of like Rich Strike. He just doesn't have any races other than that Derby that say he can compete. So I don't know what the answer to the question is, but he's got to be one of the highest priced ones ever.
Yeah, I text John. We'll see if he gives us an answer before the show ends. But who are you leaning at? I mean, because I know that for me, it was like, okay, Chargers pointing to the Travers. Cannot wait to play him. Like, he's so raw. He'll love that distance. And then Artorias showed up, and I'm like, damn, I really think he's the goods. I think he'll be really tough to beat. Epicenter did his thing in the Jim Dandies, and I'm like, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe he just is the best 3-year-old. Where have you got any idea? Obviously, we've started the Travers guide already. We're kind of the pre-stages of it, but are you leaning towards anyone right now? Or are you still just going to see, how maybe the work or the draw or whatever?
It reminds me a lot of the Derby and how we came into that. Epicenter looks like the Travers winner, right?
Yeah, he does.
But he also, in the back of your mind, you're like, I'm just not sure how good he is. And I think a really good performance can beat him, like the Preakness, like the Derby. Or he just got beat by good performances. He's the best horse overall. It's Artorias. Can he jump up in class, charge it? Can he stretch out in distance? He has been brilliant around one turn, but his 2-turn races have left a lot to be desired. Even if you want to throw out the Kentucky Derby, which is fine. I throw it out for sure. Look at his Florida Derby. Look at the horses that beat him. Look how he's come back. He's not very good. White Barrio, I'm talking about. Look at the horse that finished third in that. Simplification. He's not very good. So what I'm saying is, if he's not great around 2 turns, he's not going to win this race. And so, but if he's like more ready for the challenge now that he's a little more seasoned and the spacing's a little better for him, he could dominate. So it's a lot of question marks. I lean Epicenter at this point, but he certainly is the boring pick.
Yeah, Epicenter, I just feel like you nailed it. It's exactly like the Derby where you're like, I could pick Epicenter, but I just have a feeling he might run second. Like I think you can count him for sure. He's been very steady to make his run, but could a freak performance by Artorias. We don't know what he is really yet. We don't know what charge it is really yet. So could one of those horses run huge? Sure, I think they could. And what is Cyberknife? If he goes and wins this, you go from kind of being like it was all Taba, and then of course he upsets the Haskell. Cyberknife wins that, and then if he goes and wins this, it's like, dude, I mean, talk about throwing your name in the hat. You win the Haskell Travers, which I don't think is out of question. I mean, Cyberknife is certainly coming into his own. So yeah, this race is incredible. Obviously, can't wait for this thing to draw, and we'll be on it all over it. A couple other races, are it's just wide open. I mean, the Ballstone Spa, it's got Fluffy Socks, High Opinion, Lemistra, Technical Analysis. There's a bunch of possibles in the Jerkins. We get to see Jack Christopher cut back to a distance he belongs at, where he excels at, but he's got a few in there, that he's going to, that Conager he's fast. He's very fast. That's a horse that came back after losing to our boy 8 Life Grand in the Iowa Derby. Came back sprinting, was really fast, really good. Credit of actuator. So you get to see Jack Christopher back, how he rebounded. Then that turf race, the Sword Dancer, which is a Breeders' Cup winning you're in. Aiden O'Brien sitting over Broom. How about that? The horse that ran second in the Breeders' Cup. So Aiden obviously showing his hand here with maybe trying to get this horse back into that race for this year's Breeders' Cup. So Broom's coming over. Of course, you got Ahadmo, Gafo, and Rock Emperor, Trubuvin, Channel Maker, Mira Mission. So you got to, and then the Personal Instant, probably going to be another short field. Let's just get that out of the way. But you get Clariere, Crazy Beautiful, Latruska, and Malathot. Really, all you care about is Malathot, Clariere, Latruska. What is Latruska coming back? Can Clariere continue to do her thing? So a bunch of these divisions, Jackie's Warrior, by the way, versus Speaker's Corner in the Forgo. It's going to be an unbelievable day of racing.
Two comments on all of it there. If Broom is any kind of horse, he will dominate these turf horses over here. So if he comes up over here, I mean, this division's been pretty weak. I think he should dominate him. Like I said, I want to go back to Cyberknife. This Haskell's Travers double is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. It's only happened 3 times. The last time it happened was point given. And not all horses try it every year. So that's part of it. But there's been some good ones that have not been able to get it done. American Pharoah being one of them. That's really hard to do. So yeah, if he wins next Saturday, he's turned into a beast.
Yeah, the thing is about it's like the way he would do it too is like, of course, Pharoah had I'll use him as an example, had the target on his back directly for both races. And we saw what happened to the Travers. It cost him the Travers by that whole reason, them going after him a little bit. Frosted, if that is. And of course, Keen Ice ran him down. But Cyberknife is totally under the radar, right? He's under the radar going into the Haskell, wins that. And then in this race, he's a totally, if you're looking at this field, he's like the 5th horse you're mentioning. You know what I mean? Like, so he kind of could go. He would not only would he win both of them, but he would win them both by just never really you haven't thought about him.
Yep. And what would it say if he runs like 8th? What does it say about Taba?
It says a lot of things. It says some bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it, right? I'm kind of hoping he runs well. So. Yeah, I don't know. Cyberknife certainly is a horse that even if he doesn't win and runs a good second or third in one of these, one of these horses freaks and whatever, like you're going to see a handful early over under 3, 3.5. I'll make this tough on how many of these 3-year-olds are going to run in the Classic.
I'm reading them off one by one in my head. I'll go under that 3.5. I think it might be 3.
Might be 3.
Yeah.
I know that's a tough one. Seems like Charge It definitely. Cyberknife, Epicenter.
I'm not convinced Charge It won't be in the mile, but he also if he can win this, he'll be in the Classic.
Right. Whoever wins this is definitely that horse.
Epicenter will be there, Cyberknife, maybe Zandon, and then, one's going to probably get injured, and one might decide, I'm not going to do that. We'll see.
All right. So, next week's Travers. That's right. It's next week. It's not this weekend. People that thought it was this weekend are high. But no, it's next weekend. And, of course, the dudes will be there, so cannot wait to be back at the Travers. And making the Travers kind of an annual thing, trying to. Anyways, we go to it. Been going to a few of them. All right, today's show, we're going to preview and give picks for Saturday $600,000 Alabama Stakes at Saratoga. Nest, Secret Oath. Could we consider this a rubber match? I mean, it is, but do we think this is going to be any question? We'll see. Nest is in there. Secret Oath. Nest obviously got just dominated Secret Oath last time out in the CCA Oaks. And then we're going to do some rapid fire selections for some of the remaining major stakes races this weekend at Del Mar, Monmouth Park. That's right. We get some Monmouth action in there, and Saratoga. Let's go.
I don't know if Brian's still watching. Yeah, I'll be at every OU home game, Brian. Hopefully Remington a couple times. Not sure on that yet.
It's about that time.
It's really, really snuck up on us.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Well, you didn't really feel it because you were gone for a lot most of July and August, feels like. But it's been so hot that and then all of a sudden it's like now it's kind of cooled off. School's starting, and you're like, oh, football's here. It's now I'm like buying Halloween stuff. So
Yep.
it's been really hot though here lately, so it's been hard to kind of really thought about it. But yeah,
Yep.
dude, it's let's see my Yahoo's outside. All right. Let's do some Alabama. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Saturday at the Spa, race 10, the Grade 1 Alabama Stakes, $600K for fillies, 3-year-olds, going a mile and a quarter. Field of 7 lines up for this one, and there were talks that Nest might go for the Travers. Obviously, not the case because we see you're in here, the 4-horse, your 1-2 favorite in the Alabama versus Gerrymander and Secret Oath. So Gerrymander, kind of the quote unquote news shooter and kind of try to upset Nest here. I feel like Secret Oath, D Wayne in typical D Wayne fashion has said she's doing the best she's ever done with him. So we'll see. But now they're in even more in Nest wheelhouse at this distance. So is there any way she can get beat?
I mean, yeah, it's racing and you can lose. And sometimes when they're too good to be true, that's when they lose, John taught me that a long time ago. Sometimes when, it's like, there's no way they can lose. That's when they do. How she gets beat is pretty simple. She's going to have to bounce big time off of that effort. And I don't think she will. I want to make that very clear. I think she's a single. But if she bounces, if she doesn't run all that well, Secret Oath, Gerrymander, those 2 horses can beat her. When I did the preview, I said, I'll try to throw Gerrymander in there for second, kind of get a little bit higher of a price. I was shocked to see that horse is the second choice and Secret Oath is the third choice. That's interesting. It could very well be the case, but I did not think that would happen. But no, end of the day, Nest, all she has to do is show up and run a race, and they can't beat her in the spot. And you hit the nail on the head. When we went into the Coaching Club American Oaks, I picked Nest. So did you. But we both said, mile and an eighth, if Secret Oath's going to get her, it's going to be here because there's no way Nest is going to beat her or anybody's going to beat Nest at a mile and a quarter. No way. She won the Coaching Club by 12, and now we're in a race where she said, she'll be even better in Alabama. So if that comes to fruition, this race is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I just don't see how off of that CC. I don't know. Like, I just haven't seen enough since that Kentucky Oaks from Secret Oath that tells me this horse is able. I mean, it's like she got manhandled in the Preakness. She got manhandled in the CCA Oaks. The horse that beat her in the CCA Oaks. I mean, she ran second. But the horse that beat her in the CCA Oaks damn near won the Belmont. And then, so it's like, I just think she got the best of her that day, maybe a better trip, whatever, in the Oaks to upset her. But going this distance, I mean, come on. Nest was on cruise control and still, like, Irad never even asked anything of her in that race. I mean, it was the most amazing performance when you get to go, here we go, here's the matchup. And you're like, they aren't doing anything on Nest right now. He's just riding her. It's over. And so he didn't even try. And so I think that's the biggest thing. Pletcher has mentioned a little bit of like, anytime you have a big performance like that, it's tough to run them. You don't know how well or, what they're going to do. But he has expressed that she's doing great and doesn't think that's going to happen. And even if she does bounce a little bit, let's just say that for a second. If she does bounce a bit, it's still going to take a career number from Secret Oath. It's still going to take a career number by Gerrymander to beat her, because if she does bounce, I don't expect it to be a huge bounce. Gerrymander is interesting, but she's never ran anywhere near this far, and so what will she do going this long? She looked really good in the Mother Goose, but that was only a mile 16th. That course, that was her stretching out, and she ran one of her best races, if not the best race So you could argue her going longer is interesting for sure, but maybe for second. I thought Nest was interesting if she wanted to enter into the Travers, so I've got to pick her here, right?
In that regard, if Nest wins and she earns a speed figure that's higher than anybody in the Travers, let's say, which is not far-fetched because she did that in the coaching club, if not higher, right on par with everybody that's been running. I mean, at what point do you try to think about the boys? Is it next year, or do you think about the Breeders' Cup? I mean, it's hard to pass a distaff where you're going to be the favorite, I guess. But at what point do you give it a shot? Because right now, like, if she repeats that kind of coaching club where it's just like a joke of a race, there's nowhere else for her to tackle these 3-year-old fillies.
No, I mean, at this point, if you win this like we expect her to win, I mean, what do? Do you run her like in the what is that? What's the race? The Pennsylvania Derby day? The
cotillion. Yeah.
Cotillion. Run her the cotillion as like a warm up, basically, and then go to the distaff. I guess. I don't know. I mean, you just basically try to get her to the distaff at this point, which is nothing. I don't think you can get it. I personally, and I'm the biggest advocate. Anytime there's ever a good filly or whatever, it's like run her against the boys. I just don't think you do that here. I don't think you go to the Classic with her.
The one thing she has going for her that a lot of these horses that try that don't have is the distance. She should, and it has been better going that long distance. I mean, knowing what I know about her now and how good she is, boy, that Belmont, she could have had it. I think they've learned, hey, get her out there, keep her out of trouble, and just let her get the jump on them and let her just go kill them, basically. And I just think if she entered, I don't think she'd embarrass herself. Now, a lot of it's going to depend on how's Flightline look, how's Life is Good look coming into that race. And I'm with you. I think the distaff, I wouldn't be surprised if they try distaff and then maybe try the Pegasus next year with this horse if she's doing well. Maybe that's a spot for her. But listen, she's got to win the Alabama first before any of this. She certainly should. And like I said, it's just hard to back anybody else in the spot.
I mean, of course, different circumstances, of course. A horse that didn't even start till she was 4. But even Zenyatta, they didn't attempt anything crazy until they did, right? They went to distaff first. They did that thing, and then you kind of worked your way there. So I think if you're Pletcher, Chad on the mind. I think if you're Pletcher, it's not like you don't have options as far as the males go, right? You've got Life is Good going there, and you've got 3-year-olds, right? That so you don't have to send her there. Go win the distaff. There's nothing wrong with that. And then I don't mind your idea. It's like, okay, if she wins that, like she would if you think she should run the Classic. I mean, go see what she does in the Pegasus.
Well, it's like what people were clamoring for the Travers, and I agree. Like, as far as being competitive in that race, I think she definitely could have. Maybe she could have won it, but it's hard to say no to a Grade 1 where you're going to be 1-9. I just kept saying that over and over, and she's 1-2 on the morning line. Maybe she doesn't get to 1-9, but she's probably going to be 1-5. It's hard to say no to a Grade 1 race when you're like that. And say she does what we think she's going to do. She goes into that distaff. It's hard to say no to a multi-million-dollar Grade 1 distaff when you're going to be the favorite. Mm-hmm. So I don't blame them one bit.
Especially when you just don't know. I mean, we do have, what if Flightline, romps in the Pacific Classic, and what if all of a sudden you're like, golly, we got to beat Flightline, we got to beat Life is Good, we got to beat, Hot Rod, we got to beat the winner of the Travers, whoever comes, you know what I mean? Like, it just becomes very, very tall task where it's like, or we could go win the distaff.
You got to be Clariere in the distaff.
And we'll see what happens on the same day, right? Who kind of emerges out of that pack in terms of who, I did the distaff rankings, the first distaff rankings, and I have Nest number 1, and I think for good reason. And Clariere second, but really all those are a mess. Or how good are they? In terms of Latruska, she's very hit or miss. We'll see what she does here, but I just think, considering what we have right now in the filly department, the mare department, she would be tough to beat, assuming she keeps this class level. All right, enough about the future. Anything if she were to get beat? You kind of talked about Secret Oath and you talked about Gerrymander. If she were to get beat, big if, huge if, but if there's an upset looming, is it Gerrymander? If that's your horse?
Yeah, I do think it's Gerrymander. I think it's just we saw what happened to Secret Oath, and I think Lucas can say what he wants. She's doing great. It's always going to say, hey, they're doing great coming in a race. I don't know. I think we've seen the best of her. I don't think she's going to get much better than what we've seen. I think she's going to try to slingshot him this time and kind of take her back in a regular size field or a more regular size field and try to get the jump on him like she did in the Oaks. I just don't think that's going to work. Gerrymander, she's kind of one that may be progressing and maybe can jump up and run a better race than she has yet. That last race at Belmont was pretty solid. I don't think there's much of a chance that Ness is going to get upset, but if somebody is going to do it, Gerrymander to me makes the most sense. It's hard for me to say, well, Secret Oath is going to make up 12.5 on her today. So yeah, Gerrymander for me is for the potential upset, but I think it's a very low probability.
Yeah, I mean, Gerrymander, I think the whole is if she runs that race like she did in Mother Goose, definitely. I think if you're trying to play against all the other ones, like if you're trying to play against Secret Oath, and Gerrymander, being the low odds, like I don't think that Nostalgic has no chance to finish second, right? Like she obviously has been a horse that likes to go long, been running a lot of mile and eighth races, stretching out here, of course, but a horse that kind of just does her thing late. She was off a little bit of a layoff that last race in the CCAO, kind of up against it that day, of course. Maybe she improves a touch to where she can be a horse that gets into second. Of course, I like the fact that Jose Ortiz is back aboard her here as well. So, I mean, I don't like it's not saying that she can win, but it's like a mile back and maybe she gets second at 12-1 versus getting second at, 7-2 or 3-1, whoever these horses are going to be.
She has the breeding, there's no doubt. And yeah, she has a win at a mile and an eighth. And I do think she looks like, physically, she looks like a mile and a quarter type. She's an odd one. She either wins pretty easily or gets absolutely trounced, kind of one of those odd horses like that. I would lean more towards absolutely trounced against this field, but I'm with you. She does kind of have if they they try to challenge Ness and and Ness kind of fins them off and they stop a little bit. Oh, this horse is probably going to be out of it anyway and just going to try to pass tired horses. The one negative I have, well, there's a lot of negatives, but the one I can't get out of my mind, Secret Oath was done in the coaching club. She was dying for the wire. She totally quit. Nostalgia could not pass her. And I thought right there, it's like, well, there's nothing behind Secret Oath in this race.
I mean, you could very easily just play another Nest over Secret Oath because you could argue that, Gerrymander won't like going this long, gets tired, obviously, up against a horse like Nest. I don't know what the hell Keen's doing in the race, but I guess maybe some pace presence, but she's gonna see the light real fast in this one whenever she's trying to go after Nest, or Nest after her, or however that works. But yeah, I just you can make a case that Gerrymander doesn't like this distance, especially going up against Nest, and Secret Oath's just kind of like, okay, I'll get second again,
Mm-hmm.
If Nostalgic, like you said, is just not very good. So, all right, I think we've talked this one into the ground. Nest, I don't think there's anything crazy to say here. We all think Nest is going to win the 2022 Alabama. Look, John is working diligently on the Del Mar card, but he is listening. So, hello, John. Thank you for listening. He said he did give me credit for being a great question, so I appreciate that. But he does not know the answer off the top of his head. But I'm guessing I will get an answer at some point.
Well, the problem is there's no way to know that off the top of your head. It's too good of a question.
for most people, but not John White.
Well, he's like, I don't know.
Well, it's a good question if John White's like, I don't know.
It's too specific of a question, right? It's like if it's like who had the highest odds of the Travers, it's like, well, that may be like a question somebody might know, but it's like, what Kentucky Derby winner had the highest odds in the Travers? Like, that's tough to just pull out of your ass.
Well, and I don't know that there. And again, off the top of my head, I don't know that there's a huge list, not a massive list of Derby winners that ran in the Travers.
I mean, yeah, especially recently, it seems like the Derby winners haven't done a whole lot. Not all of them in recent years, but we've had a lot of them that are kind of been weird.
But you've got horses like, well, yeah, in recent for sure. Pharaoh, of course, was done after the Belmont, Justify was done after the Belmont. Pharaoh, he did run in this race, but he got beat. Then you've got horses like, what's the horse I'm thinking of?
The
DQ. Country House never ran, obviously.
Medina Spirit, never. So it's amazing from May to August how the scene changes.
How it changes. Yeah, I know. Completely. And so, yeah, I want to say I saw the guys over at Real Dynasty tweet out that was it Always Dreaming was the last Derby winner to run in the Travers, but I might be completely wrong on that.
Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. So Rich Strike, Medina Spirit, Authentic. Okay, so forget about Rich Strike, but Medina Spirit, Authentic, Country House, Justify. None of those did. Always Dreaming did, sort of. He was terrible in that race. Nyquist did not. California Chrome did not. Of course, American Pharaoh did. Orb, I think Orb was in the Travers. Yeah, he was in the Travers. I'll Have Another, obviously Hurt did not. Animal Kingdom did not. Super Saver, I can't remember if he was in it or not. But yeah, I mean, we're going back now and it's like, yeah, none of these. Mind That Bird, I don't believe did. Big Brown, I don't believe did. No. Yeah. So
that's I mean, you got to think that. So I think I start thinking of huge upsets in the Derby. Obviously, we have not seen one like Rich Strike, and so I think it takes a lot. You're talking about a horse like that to actually make it to the Travers, to be heard of again. That makes a huge upset. And then what are their odds? So, Rich Strike has to be one of the, if not the highest. I mean, we don't know what he's going to go off at, but I would think he's every bit of 10, 15 to 1, right?
Yeah. So this is just for reference. As you were talking, I was looking. Super Saver did run in the Travers. It was his last race. He was coming off an 8th place effort in the Preakness and a 4th place effort in the Haskell. And then he came to the Travers. And I remember that the Preakness, he was a no-show. The Haskell, he got his ass kicked by looking at Lucky. I was there that day. It was actually the first Haskell I ever went to. He was 7 to 1 in the Travers.
Super Saver?
Yes.
Dude.
Rich Strike has to be double that price, I would think.
Yeah.
See if I can find some other. Yeah, I don't. There really hasn't been very many as I look through this, especially the last 15 years. Wow. Anyway, okay. Let's see what Orb was, just out of curiosity here. I know this is great radio. Orb was 3 to 1. And he was coming in off of a loss in the Preakness and, of course, loss in the Belmont. He was still 3 to 1. I mean, he's going to be the highest in the last 30 years for sure. Just looking at this list.
Easily. And he should be.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
I guess if you like him, you're finally going to get him at a price that he should be at.
Like a horse like Giacomo, the big price, he did not run in the Travers. A horse like Mind That Bird did not run in the Travers. So, those are ones that could have approached what Rich Strike's going to be. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna be wild. What was Always Dreaming? Remember, Always Dreaming was horrible in the Jim Dandy. Let's see. He was coming into the race off of an 8th in the Preakness and a 3rd in the Jim Dandy, and Always Dreaming for the Travers was 6-1. So there you go, 6-1, 7-1 for the Always Dreaming Super Saber crowd. They had Todd Pletcher on their side as far as betting goes, So I gotta think he's 15 to 10 to 12 to 15 to 1 in this race.
Yeah. And Rich Strike, what was he, like 8th or something in the Belmont?
I mean, how many horses ran? He was 6th.
So
he did beat Barber Road and Golden Glider, so he's 6 out of 8.
Where's Shoddy when you need her? Barber Road.
But I mean, I just don't see any way that he's any lower than 10 to 1.
And I think I'm not interested in playing him at all. But he's got to be. When you look at those numbers, he certainly is not in that crowd. So he's got to be all 15 to 1 plus in order to even approach playing him, in my opinion.
Let me ask you something, and we're getting off of this. We need to go to something else. But what odds would it take for you to play him in this race?
20, maybe 30 to 1.
The Kentucky Derby winner who's raced one time, it was in the Belmont and lost, and you need 30 to 1.
Right? I mean,
I would need 150 to 1. So there's that.
It's great. Yeah. And it's nuts.
And again, a lot of people got mad at Samich when he said some similar stuff at the Belmont. It's like, no, you can't give anybody hell for that. It's their own personal thought of what odds they would play a horse at. This is not really, I hate the horse, and I think he sucks. It's okay. Yeah. I have $10. What price would I need? Well, you can't argue with it. That's my opinion and my, thought on what I would play him at. You don't know what I would play him at more than I would.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no wrong answer in that equation because it's my theory. It's my opinion.
So if your answer is 20 and mine is 150, they're both there's no arguing either one of them because you don't know. I don't know more than you what you would play him at, right? So
exactly. Yeah. Don't talk shit about who I would play him at, right?
That's personally what I would play the horse at. 150 to 1, I would lay down $10 to win on him.
Why did you do it in the Derby?
He wasn't. He needed to be 3,000 to 1 before I would have played him in the Derby. That's what people are just not people that are listening, but like people were like, "How did you miss him?" It's like you don't.
I forgot he was in the race.
60 to 1 is a terrible price on him in the Derby. Terrible.
Yeah.
He needed to be 3,000 to 1 to play him in that race.
I didn't play him because I legit forgot he was in the race. That's why I didn't play him.
I'll take it further. I didn't care he was in the race. He played no factor in it.
None whatsoever. It wasn't even like he was a speed presence at all. So right. Like you're never gonna see him.
Right. He's gonna drop to last and you'll never see him. Exactly.
And you saw him.
So people are like, why didn't you analyze him more? It's like, what do you want me to write? If I would have wrote he has no chance to win the race, would you played him off of that? I mean, there was nothing to analyze.
Okay, I do want to bring up this comment because I was thinking about this too the other day. Okay. We've seen what Richie can do when we're calling him Richie Striker, I guess. Yeah. If that horse gets squirrely, he might run. Okay, so, and I don't think that's going to happen, but didn't think he would do that in the Derby either. So what does it say if he were to win this Travers? Is it, because the other part is like, how did he beat Epicenter? How did he beat Zandon? In this case, how does he beat Charge It? How does he, just the list goes on and on. So if he were to, what does it say more about him or say more about this crowd?
I think it says a lot more about him because this crop is not bad. We've seen a lot of good performances from this crop.
Yeah.
So to me, it would just say he's just a horse that runs when he wants, I guess. But the weirdest thing about it, he's like an afterthought for everybody all of a sudden. But if he was to win the Travers, he's number one in the division again because you'd have a win in the Derby and the Travers.
I know. I think you and I both ranked him number one after the Derby because we're like, well, shit, how do you not? He won the Derby. So, it's like, but we took him completely off the list after he bombed at the Belmont. But still, it's like, if he wins here, he's a Derby winner, he's a Travers winner, and he's easily the most frustrating horse imaginable because you're right. Like, the Nos spot only works a quarter of the time. Like, you just don't know. Like,
well, if he wins the Travers, I pat him on the back for it. But again, we're talking about gambling here. I just can't take him.
150 to 1, you can.
At 150 to 1, I can. But again, we're not going to get that, I'm afraid.
No, I don't. The only thing that it's going to hurt our thought process here is that he's just a weird enigma that people love, right? So when he enters this race, people, I don't know, his odds once again will be lower than they should be based off of this rich strike thing that everyone loved about the Derby and it's, the story and all this bullshit. So it's like people are going to bet him.
He was 4 to 1 in the Belmont,
which was insanity.
And I think Samich was like, for me to bet him, he needs to be like 30 to 1 or 50 to 1 or something like that.
See, Gridiron King wouldn't bet him with your money. Not even 150 to 1, because that's what we're talking about here.
I guess if he was to float up to a crazy price, no, I'm not even go there. No, I wouldn't bet him. If
it came to like we're somehow playing a ticket and it's like I'm trying to decide between Gilded Age and Rich Strike on my pick 5 or whatever, I would put Rich Strike in. I'll say that though.
No, I'd take Gilded Age.
Oh man, everyone thought I hated Rich Strike. You hate him more than I do. So
no, I don't hate any horse. What I don't like are horses that are overbet that don't have a chance to win, in my opinion. Right? So, again, like people always say is like, they hate those long shots that win. It's like no, like we hate when a horse that is just impossible to get wins and knocks us out of a ticket. We don't hate the horse, for God's sakes.
No, exactly.
He cost a lot of real bettors a ton of money in the Kentucky Derby.
And yeah, when you put the time and effort into a race, or like we do for the whole year, and a horse that you didn't even remember was in the race wins it, you're just don't even know how to even process that. Certainly not right after the race. And to be like, the race was brilliant. It was it was the most insane effort I've ever seen in person. Probably it just was. You couldn't even believe it. You couldn't believe it for 3 months. 2 months. It's just, and like you said, and like I mentioned earlier, the list of horses that are running the Travers, what all they've won. Well, a bunch of them were in the Derby too, and he beat all of them, like you said.
Yep.
And so it's not like you can say, well, this or that, and the field sucked or he got lucky. Like he just ran huge. You got an amazing trip, and
you can't take anything away from him. And I'm not. He was the best horse that day. Clearly, I don't want to hear excuses from everybody else. He was able to beat him, right? And so that day he was the best. And it is great for those smaller connections to win that race without any doubt. I'm not knocking any of them, but this show is about gambling. He is not a good gamble, in my opinion. So, but yeah, I'll never forget it. He is, that was once in a lifetime without any doubt.
No, and I did not expect this, but it just keeps going and the people are getting engaged here. So we'll just keep it going. But no, if he wins the Travers, he's a fluky horse, but it wasn't a fluke. I think you could say, because what he did in the Belmont. Like, you can't watch that Belmont and say that was the same horse you saw in the Derby. And if he wins the Travers, they're like two different horses.
Well, I think the definition of a fluke, Marla, is a horse or a team that has a game or a race, in this case, that is just outstanding amongst all the other races they have on their resume. So if he was to do it again, and all of a sudden that defies the definition of a fluke. All of a sudden he's done it twice. Well, you can't call it a fluke any longer. So I think even if he was to win even a lesser race in the Travers, if he ran like that again, you'd say, well, it's not a fluke. So that's what we're saying. Like, yeah, until he does that again, that was a very flukish performance, and the evidence is there. But he can go out there and change the narrative. Maybe Ain't Life Grand will rub off on him. They're stabled right next to each other, so we'll see.
That didn't suck, Brian. So we won't forget it. My friend had the Oaks Derby double. Secret Oath to All.
Pretty good.
What a play.
Yeah.
We talked about, we knew some people that played based off of, I think a lot of people did it off of John's strategy when we had him on the show. Like, if you really like a horse, play him second, right? Play him second and play all over it or something. If you think that horse could get beat, if you think, it could balloon. That's how I think he did with Mind That Bird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he loved Pioneer now. So in this case, if you liked, Epicenter, well, if you keyed him second and put all on top, you got paid, right? So, I mean, it's not impossible to get there in that regard. It was impossible to use him, I should say. But if you had an all situation like that, it certainly was gettable.
I mean, I don't think anybody, if you singled him, you did a real good job. If
you singled him, there's the fix is in, and we got a 30 for 30 story coming up on this one.
The greatest thing of all is Epicenter was the perfect candidate to play in second.
Yeah.
So you could have got there. If you played an all over Epicenter Exacta, that's really smart.
Dude, and the brutal thing was when we were making the guide, we picked Taba. Halterman's still not. I'm a little bit over it because he's my horse, but Halterman definitely isn't. And we talked about playing an all over Taba, and how sick would that have been? Because that would have been even worse. Because you had the perfect strategy and the wrong horse keyed underneath. So, anyways, all right, let's do some rapid fire. What do you say? We'll really go through these now that we spent half an hour talking about Rich Strike and the Travers. I love it. And people are excited about this is going to be a great race. It's going to be a great day of racing. You can tell people are already fired up for this. And personally, I cannot wait to get on the plane heading to New York for the Travers. So, time for rapid fire presented by BetPTC.com. BetPTC. Bet with the racing dudes at BetPTC and get a $200 new member bonus. BetPTC.com. Promo code DUDES and get that $200 new member bonus. Remember, bet with us at BetPTC. All right, we got 4 races to talk about here. We're going to do one Friday at Saratoga. We'll start right now with this one. Friday, Saratoga, race 8, the Summer Colony Stakes, $135K for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, who have not won a graded sweepstakes in 2022. 1 1/8 miles, field of 7. Halterman lines up here. I made sure to use this race because I thought it was kind of like it's a tough one because you got like the Bonnie South at 5-2, and you got Evitant at 3-1. You got Leader of the Band 4-1, Army Wife at 7-2. Like, it's kind of the who's of like the cut below of this filly and mare division. I think it's an interesting race to bet. That's why I use this race. But thoughts here?
Yeah, it is a really good race. I agree. It's kind of those second tier horses that sometimes can jump up and get to the first tier and run okay. I'm going to give Army Wife one more shot here on the rail. This horse has hit the board in all 3 starts this season. Kind of just turned the corner on the debut this year, I should say, and just kind of fell flat a little bit. Finished up a lot better at Thistle. Last time out at Monmouth Park, I didn't think liked the track very well, kind of up against search results. I think the horse today gets a nice inside trip. Tyler Gaffleone jumps back aboard. I think she is going to make first run on the leader here, which should be Misty Vale, the 2-horse. I think Army Wife's going to be tough, so I'm gonna give Army Wife another shot here at 7-2.
Army Wife makes a lot of sense. She's a tough one because you just don't know if I couldn't decide because it's like, is she a cut below? She definitely is a cut below than like the top level horses. But when she runs, and I've said this before on the show, when she runs in the right kind of race, she's really tough to beat. We saw that at Thistledown. Of course, she came back, like you said, in the Molly Pitcher was not awesome, but obviously a little bit higher level. So it's at Saratoga. Is it a higher level? Are these horses very good? So she was a little bit interesting to me, especially at 7-2, but I'm going to go with the kind of the new shooter, number 5, First to Act. I think this horse is super interesting coming in here. The Shug Irad combo. Irad was aboard this horse last time out in the allowance race at Belmont, going mile 16. Stretched out for the first time, going to mile 16 that day, and looked awesome. Bumped up her buyer big. Was carrying a lot of weight. Gets low weight here, obviously, in the stakes race. And she certainly is the one of this field, in my opinion, that has the most upside. We've seen her get better with each and every race. A Curlin 4-year-old filly. I mean, she seems like she should be getting into her prime. Those kind of peaking right now into that, like what Shug thought she would be. And so she is a horse that's definitely going to I would assume going to like going this long. And like I said, the numbers have just gradually been better with each and every start. She lost one. Maybe she's due to get second here based off of that, but I just think the field is not great, and she can set kind of the perfect kind of stalking trip. And 6-1, I would much rather take her at 6-1 than I would take Bonnie South at 5-2 all day. I wouldn't bet Bonnie South. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier. I think I said this about Bankit last weekend, and Bankit won, but I was like, I wouldn't play him at that price. Just personally, I have no interest in him at that price, and he won. So I was wrong. But I didn't care because I was like, I just never would have played him there. And just like Bonnie South, I'm not going to play her at 5-2. I'm just not. And and she might win, but great. If you had her, I'm not interested in playing her. And that goes back to the opinion. You might, you know what I mean? You might play her at 5-2. But guess what? That's your opinion. So I can't say shit about it. There you go. Nick likes my pick there too. So hopefully we're in that together. Did you like the 5 at all?
I do. Yeah, I do like the 5. I think the 5's got a pretty good shot. The up-and-comer against some horses that have been around for a while and at times run well and at times don't. So, yeah, taking the up-and-comer in a race like this, never a bad thing.
All right, let's go. Let's stay at Saratoga, but let's go to Saturday earlier on the card than on the Alabama day. Race 8, the Lake Placid. Grade 2, 200K, fillies, 3-year-olds going 1/116 miles on the turf. Wonder if Chad will be there or not. We don't know. Field of 8, though, lines up for this one, and he's get four Chad Browns. So you'd assume Imminent Victor, Consumer Spinning, Dulce Zell, and Hottie all back to back there. But the big shooter here with the Moonlight coming in for Appleby. Saez gets them out this time, but yeah, that with the Moonlight, the Saratoga Oaks winner, just wheeling it right back going into this race. I took that as a great sign. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I did as well. The worry is we do not have Buick. We're going to have Luis Saez aboard, so that's a different jock there than what we've had and what's been on this horse before. But Saez should do a good job. The horse likes to go to the front. Saez, pretty good speed rider. I thought it was a great sign. Like, why else would you bring her back unless she was doing very, very well? A little cut back in distance. I don't think that'll hurt her too much at all, actually. So, yeah, I think with the Moonlight will be tough in here. I think she's going to get the job done. I'm going to play her back.
Yeah, I even saw some quotes from Appleby saying that Belmont was like, they kind of found out that was as far as they want to take her, like as far, that 1.25 miles. I know she had ran a 1.5 miles. But obviously did not run great that day in the Sioux Oaks. And then, didn't run, it ran well, obviously, but lost. And then kind of came back just a tad in that 1.316 at Saratoga. So the fact that cutting back a little bit more tells me, okay, this is the distance we want. And she's doing great. I don't care that it was off, 2 weeks rest. It's like, by the way, he also mentioned like, this is not a weird thing for us overseas. You know what I mean? Like we do this all the time. we'll run them again in 2 weeks. So over here, it's weird. But if Stuart Appleby, if he says she's good, that's good enough for me. So I think he can hold off not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Chad Browns here. Number 1 with the Moonlight. I'm with you. Will Chad be in attendance? So
I think so. Yes,
I think he will be. I think you just play it off like nothing happened.
Well, again, if you got a misdemeanor when you go, I mean, I don't know. That's just,
as like I said, it's not about what he did. It's about the right now, anyways. What kind of like what the what people think about it right now.
Yeah.
So exactly. We'll see. It may seem worse right now than it really is. We'll find out more. Race 9. Let's go to Monmouth Park on Saturday. That's right. We'll go to Monmouth. Philip, what a great, and I mean, no disrespect to whoever this is, but the Philip H. Island Stakes. Grade 3. You know this race, right? 250K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1/116 miles. Field of 6. Well, and I wanted to bring it up because we've got 3 very interesting horses, obviously highly motivated, who seems to like Monmouth Park after that win last time out. Chad Brown, of course. Promise Keeper for Todd Pletcher. And now the Holdendorfer trained Forza de Oro, the Jockey Club favorite of last year. Forza de Oro's back, dude, and with Holdendorfer. So this is a super interesting race. And in my opinion, if Forza is anywhere back to where he was, he'll be damn tough to beat.
He will. I definitely think he's a horse that has a ton of talent. I think the trainer change is going to be interesting. It's also a long layoff. A little bit worried about that. I think he's definitely one to play. I really think it's a 2-horse race between the Forza de Oro and Highly Motivated. I'm going Highly Motivated. I really like this horse. I liked the last time this horse ran, and I like the race 2 back too. Beat a pretty nice horse. And Stage Raider also beat a horse that came back to win very impressively at Saratoga earlier in the meet. And then the horse that horse beat won today, and that was Mexican Wonder Boy. So you got to just name that horse again. So Highly Motivated for me. I really like this one. I think a 1/16 is where he really belongs. I think that's perfect distance for him. And we got to root for the good guys in this game. And Chad Brown trains this one. Maybe he'll go to Monmouth with Highly Motivated. I don't know. But anyway, I will take Highly Motivated to win in this spot.
Well, if we know anything, we know Monmouth will take him in. There's no doubt about that. So,
correct.
I went with Forza, man. I get it. I think it's the one of the 3 Highly Motivated. It's my boy too. I love that horse. Love that effort last time out. But Forza is coming off this layoff is concerning. Obviously, I haven't seen this horse since the Woodward back in October of last year. But boy, he's a weird horse. Layoffs has been the name of his game over his career. I mean, this guy has had a layoff from December 2019 to October of 2020, and then had another layoff from November of 2020 to July of 2021. And guess what? He won both of them. So this horse does well off those layoffs. I think the bigger concern is the trainer switch. Not that I don't like Holdendorfer, but you just don't know kind of what you're going to get out of him versus staying with the Bill Mott and kind of what happened there. But this horse showed a lot of talent, was a favorite of that Jockey Club that back last year. So the buyer wise, if this horse can run back to anywhere really in the last 4 or 5 races that he ran in his career, he'll be awful tough to beat. But to me, it's almost a pick 'em, right? Like between those 2. I don't think it's a very fine line between the 1 and the 3. I'm going to lean towards Paco a little bit here, though. I think he gets the job done for my Forza. So, yeah, Paco's the man. There you go. He likes Paco, too. So, I got number 1, Forza de Oro. All right, let's go to Del Mar. This is easily, in my opinion, the toughest race. And I say that, and I turned out I picked one of the favorites because I didn't have the odds when I picked the race. But let's go to Saturday, Del Mar, race 8, Del Mar Oaks, grade 1, 300K for fillies 3-year-olds. Going 1 1/8 miles on the turf. And, dude, if there's one thing we know about Del Mar this year, it has been full fields, which makes life hell for a handicapper. But they're fun races. Field of 14 on the turf at Del Mar, going 1 1/8 miles. Alternate, what could go wrong?
Well, I hate to take the favorite, but I did end up taking the favorite in the spot. And yeah, again, hats off to Del Mar. This meet has been great. I have not been a huge fan of the Del Mar meets the last couple of years. It's been a little light. This is not. It's been fantastic. And it makes for such great racing because you get Saratoga and then Del Mar's on, and it's like, man, it's all day and then all night, wherever you, depending on where you live. They've done a great job. 14 here, but I think Spinderella is the best. Look, this horse was a monster in 3 starts over here. She went to Ascot and got second and ran really, really hard. I think the post is a little tricky here. That's gonna play a factor, but I think she's faster than the rest of these. I think she can kick clear of them. This is the first time we've seen this horse stretch out past a mile. The breeding says she's gonna love it. So if she can get out on that high cruising speed and kind of not slow down, she could run a lot of these into submission. I like horses that have early speed, that stretch out at distance, that have a pedigree that says they'll handle it. I like Spinderella in the spot a lot. I'm going to go with her on top.
Yeah, I think she's the most likely winner of the race. Let's put it that way. She's got a ton of class. Obviously, that race overseas was great. I think. The reason I'm playing against her in some regards, I'll use her on my tickets, but for my top pick, a little bit of that layoff, not a big layoff, but a little bit of layoff. The overseas, obviously, layoff. And then, of course, the drawn out in the parking lot. That I think that's going to, not that a mile and 8 is totally concerning, but still, Grand Motion's not going to throw her in this race unless she's got a great chance to win. I honestly, I was between her and Bella Bell, the two. And then all of a sudden, number 5, Carol Memories, just shoots off at me. I'm like, oh, man, I'm starting to like this horse. Go back and watch the Belmont Oaks replay and just key on Carol Memories. That's all I would ask. If you really like With the Moonlight, which we do, we're picking her to win the same day. Carol Memories ran super hard against her. And for the mile and 8th, which is what this race is, she was right there with the Moonlight. And of course, with Moonlight, sprinted on and, she ended up finishing 5th. Of course, the distance, mile and a quarter, was not her thing. But at a mile and 8, she's 2 for 2. She likes Del Mar. I was honestly hoping for 5-1. I get it, Nick. Trust me. I know. There's the key, though. Here's the key. She'll be on or near the lead. So what could go wrong, right? Just don't mess with it. Don't mess with anything. Just go. No, that should tell you how much I like her because that superseded the Mike Smith factor.
Life is Good says a lot can go wrong when Mike Smith is with me and I'm on the lead.
Hey, all I'll say is this. I'll be using the 2. I'll be using 11, and I'll be using the 5. Go watch the Belmont Oaks and watch Carol Memories, who, by the way, Mike Smith was riding that day. And just before you make a decision to not use her, just watch that effort. I thought it was very impressive. By the way, she rattled off 2 wins in a row prior to that. Just saying, I think she's dangerous at this distance. I wish we got a little bit better price. John, I wish you could do something about that price, right? But, hey, are you using Carol Memories, Halterman? I got to know. How much do you hate that pick? Or is it Mike Smith is swaying you off?
I like Bella Bell better than Cairo Memories in this spot. And I thought that's who you'd be on because we were all over that horse last time in the San Clemente. And boy, did she run well. I thought that's why I like second. Cairo, I could see it. I could definitely see it. But I would have her third.
I'm a little, like I said, when I did this, when I handicapped it last night, I thought, I'm looking for a little bit of a price, big field. Give me 5-6-1 on Carol Memories. That's perfect. That's what I'm looking for here. Cinderella draws outside. How Bella Bell, obviously I like, but I thought, why is Bella Bell 5-1 and 3-1 on Carol Memories? I think I would swap those maybe, but I know John's listening, so no, I'm not being critical of it. That's just my opinion. I'm hoping Carol floats up a little bit.
Love it. Love the insult to our listeners.
Yeah, no, it's a backhanded compliment, right? Listen, but we're not going to get picks on this, but we had to bring this race up because if you guys don't know, and Halterman didn't even see the field yet before this, so I showed him Tuesday. That's right, Tuesday let me scroll down. Parks, Tuesday. Keep this in mind. The Smarty Jones is grade 3 Smarty Jones for 3-year-olds. 300K race. So you're getting the big boys, at least the big jockeys in. Pratt and Irad and all these guys, Flo and Jose, they're all in here. Look at this race. You got Golden Chemist and Pioneer of the Medina, Creative Ministers in the race, Best Actor. So it's something to watch. You know, Safi and Jose teaming up on a 12-1, the 9-horse. You know what you're doing on Tuesday now, Halterman. I know you'd be doing it anyways. Let's be honest. But
I was gonna say, I think I'd be watching this anyways. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting race for sure. I don't know. Best Actor, maybe. I kind of like that horse a little bit. I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one. I haven't analyzed that one yet. I've got time though. I've got time.
You do have time. And I just you can't. You can't touch. Yeah, I mean. So I know he's gonna. Creative Minister is he's just gonna run this. Like you can't touch Creative Minister until proven otherwise.
I'm very interested in this Golden Alchemist horse for Chad Brown. Yeah. That's the horse that lost to St. Tappet on debut. Of course, St. Tappet comes back to win. I was actually at Saratoga the next race for Golden Alchemist when he broke his maiden. Woo! Did he look good? Boy, he looked good that day. So. Yeah, I'm very interested in that horse.
Yeah, and Vicky says Jared taking Mike Smith on the turf isn't as surprising as Samich taking Ricardo Santana on turf at Saratoga. We must be on something then, apparently, Vicky, because that is surprising. That is surprising as well. All right, that's it. You have anything else to add? Rapid fire. I think that's.
Well, have you? No, you just throw it to me for the closing. Throw it to me.
All right, that's a wrap for Rapid Fire. Okay, let's. I want to know what you're gonna. I'm gonna guess. I think I know what you're gonna ask me, but let's.
You may not. I've got two things. You may not know either one.
All right, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingnews.com for our free picks and of course our premium selections on our handicap products page. Just click the Get Racing News Premium button at the menu at racingnews.com to learn more. We're now offering. Free premium picks. So every day we're offering a track completely for free on the site. All you got to do is just go to the premium page there. You'll see under subscriptions, daily free premium picks, or if you just search for, or if you look on the menu of free premium picks, not hard to find. And we're giving away every day. We have a track that's free. So you can kind of see exactly how we do it and what it looks like. We also have all what you get with the Rockets, what you get with the Somo Bombs, what you get with premium, all that good stuff. All available there on that page, and you can see the payouts and everything. Just free premium picks, the new page there at racingnews.com. So if you're kind of on the fence on how to play this, of course, we have the Travers wagering guide as well. So it's a great time to become a premium subscriber. You get that guide for free. We'll have that pre-selling probably tomorrow. I'll have it out. The pre-sale for that it's the big one, right? So the bankroll will be back. Halterman and I will be teaming up for the bankroll again. We'll be there live betting them. With you guys, we'll have top 4 consensus picks. Saratoga Slim's going to make an appearance. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be off the hook. Can't wait. The Travers. Make sure you look for that on the website at racingdudes.com. Make sure you watch the Magic Mike show. All the same channels that we're on. Blinkers Off, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all those great. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, the Magic Mike show and Blinkers Off are on there. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off on our website as well and our YouTube page. You just go to youtube.com/racingdudes. Halterman, what do you got?
All right, here's a big question. Is a hamburger a sandwich?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Dr. Tang says no.
What is it then?
It's a burger.
What First of all, any menu you ever see, sandwiches, it's under that, right? I guess some places have burgers. But you got you got a patty, you got meat, a bun, and a bun on top and bottom. What do you have on a turkey sandwich? Meat, bun. Same thing.
So the overall, everybody is pretty much saying yes. It is a burger. A burger is a sandwich. Samich has convinced me that a burger is a sandwich. Heather also agrees.
Wait,
So,
you didn't think it was at first?
Huh?
You didn't think it was at first?
No, I thought, oh no, a burger is a burger. No, it is a sandwich. We looked up the definition, and by
Oh my
definition, it is a
gosh.
sandwich. So this has been going on in the Magic Mike show for the last few days, and the Daily Show. Also, is a taco a sandwich?
No.
How about a hot dog?
No, hot dog's a hot dog.
Okay, well, so what's the difference? Because the bun is connected?
Yeah, I think a better question would be, is the taco a hot dog, or a hot dog a taco?
Is a hot dog a taco? I like that.
Well, think about it. You got a piece of bread or cooked bread, or however that's connected with meat in the middle.
Right. Well, Samich says a taco is a sandwich.
But the thing is, like, you don't say, do you want, like, if you're eating a brat, you say, do you want a brat? Do you want a hot dog? Do you want a hot dog? Do you want a Polish sausage? Do you want, you don't say, do you want this piece of meat on bread? So you don't say, do you want this sandwich? So I think that's what separates it. Boy, you know what? It's making me think twice though, because no one ever says, like, hey, you want a sandwich, and they hand you a burger. Boy, you know what? I didn't think I'd think this hard this late in the day, but that's a thinker. What brought that up?
They talked about it on Magic Mike, and people have been freaking out on all of our shows since we bring it up. Not freaking out. I shouldn't say freaking out. It's been very festive, the conversations.
Yeah, see, like, Vicky says anything sandwich between bread is a sandwich. Yeah. Tacos don't count.
Vicky also says, why isn't a hot dog a sandwich? It's 2 pieces of bread and meat.
Well, like at some like barbecue places and stuff, you can get like hot link sandwiches, right? Yeah. Which is basically a hot dog, or not a hot dog, but sausage cut up, sliced up on bread, right? Between 2 slices of bread, that makes it a sandwich. So you don't call sausage on hot dog bun a sandwich, right?
See, I tend to lean with Nick. It's 1 piece of bread.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit different. Yeah. I don't think a taco is a sandwich. I don't think a quesadilla is a sandwich either.
No. Anybody that calls quesadilla a sandwich needs to be mentally checked.
Oh, that's Samich.
Like I said.
Hey, what about this? Is an ice cream sandwich a sandwich?
Oh, gosh. Boy, yeah, it has to be.
But it doesn't have bread or meat.
It's an ice cream. I don't know, man. I guess not.
What if the hot dog bun flipped?
Then it becomes a sandwich while you're eating it. That's what she said.
Just saying.
Well, it's not. Well, then what do you call it then, Vicky? And I'm with you. I like an ice cream sandwich like the rest of us, but that's what I've called it my 36 years of my life. So if it's not a sandwich, what is it? Just an ice cream chocolate treat?
It's dessert, is what Samich said.
I want to go to a restaurant with Samich. Well, next time we go to a restaurant with Samich, I'm going to say, hey, you got to order like you think these are called. So order a quesadilla, the sandwich.
Like I said, this has been going on since Monday. Those idiots started it. They insulted Dr. Tang, so our HR department is definitely looking into that still. The debate rages on.
I figured, did Magic not have some, an analytical approach to this? Figured he would.
Actually, Samich is the one that's went wild with it. Magic was just like, yeah, a burger's a sandwich, and then he just wanted to move on, and Samich got very analytical with it. So I'm going to talk to Papa Dude and I for about 30 minutes off the air to Wednesday about the sandwich situation.
What's Papa Dude say?
Papa Dude does believe that a hamburger is a sandwich. He is on board with that, but he starts to draw the line when tacos and quesadillas come into play.
Good. Well, you know what? I respect your dad. I think I stand with him.
He's not a lunatic.
Well, I'm glad we have handled this. Any other hard hitting questions?
Okay. So the final question: you are a Chiefs fan, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes. I think everyone's aware of that.
The over season win total for the Chiefs 10.5. Over or under 10.5 for the Chiefs?
Gosh, I think it's close to that 10 mark. That's a good line. I think it's over, but they have a tough schedule. No reason why they don't, because but their division is unbelievable. So you got to play all those guys twice. I mean, you're playing. You got to play pretty much all the best quarterbacks in the league. You guys assume. I mean, hell, a lot of people are picking the Chiefs third in our division, even. So I still think it's over, though. I think people are wildly underrating the offense.
I think the problem is the division when you're talking about over-under totals. Like, I think the Chiefs are a playoff team. I think everybody in that division might finish within that 9-11 mark with wins. So I think that's the dicey thing about playing the Chiefs over 10.5. I'm with you. I think it's a good line. I think they're going like 11-6 or 10-7, one of the two.
It's certainly not going to be as easy as, because here's the thing. Most years you say, well, we can sweep the Raiders, we can sweep the Broncos, and we might split the Chargers. Now you're hoping to split both of them, all three games, all three teams, really, because the division is really that good. And then on top of that, you got week one, who you kick off with, but the Cardinals, which, I mean, them all fresh and healthy, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You got to play the revamped Colts. That's not going to be totally easy game. You got to play the Bucks, and Tom Brady. You got to play the Bills. You got to play the 49ers, who I think are going to be better. You got to play the Titans. You got to play the Rams. You got to play the Bengals. I mean, that's not those non-division games are tough, and that's just how it works. But it certainly makes. I think the season is going to be tough at first, just because you got to start with Arizona, Chargers, Colts, Tampa. That offense is going to take a little bit, but I think the narrative will change quite quickly from, oh man, how are they going to handle this without Tyreek, to, gosh, they got too many weapons.
They do have a lot of weapons. I mean, I think they could be pretty darn good and go 10-7. That's it. That's just it. Because the Chiefs, I'm sorry, I think they're a bit worse than they were last year without him. And I think,
he's a game changer, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think the other teams are better than they were last year. So that division is going to be fun. Every week is going to be fun. Plus, you got the guy out in San Diego who can't coach a lick. And how are they going to blow games?
Chargers will be Chargers.
Raiders, and it's like, yeah, they'll probably do something dumb, and then does Russell Wilson have anything left? It's interesting. It's a really interesting division this year.
I think it's a really good opportunity. And, we say we get, when you have challenges, you call them opportunity. A good opportunity for the Chiefs and Mahomes to grow into this new offense. And the defense obviously has improved, at least on paper has improved. And so, and younger and faster, you would think. And so they're going to have to carry a little bit more of the load. But ultimately, you would think this is going to make the team a little bit more of a well-rounded team where you don't have that Tyreek streaking down the field for 80, that kind of carry you if you need it kind of thing. This is like you're going to have to really play, and that's going to make Mahomes be a better player, I assume, but he still got Mahomes, right? that's the thing. So I think they'll be just fine. I do think what happened was a necessary. I mean, obviously, I would have loved to have kept Tyreek, but for what he wanted, we gave him everything we could, and he didn't take it, right? So it's like long term, big picture, you had to do that. Short term, yeah, the season might be tough, but can they gut out 11 wins? I think they can, but it's a tough line. I mean, I don't know that I would touch it, to be honest with you, because I still think they can make the playoffs with 10 wins, right?
Yeah,
easily.
There's one thing that I'll never get right. It's this. I cannot say the LA Chargers. I just can't. Like, I can call the former Redskins, the football team, and the Commanders without any trouble. Never. I always stumble on that one. It just doesn't feel like they're in LA still. I don't know why.
The Rams, I have no problem with.
Me neither, because they were in LA before.
Right, and no one cared about St. Louis Rams. So
right, correct.
But yeah, I think it. Let's see. Kelsey will be a lock for. Yeah, I mean he'll have a huge year. And I think Juju will be a really good possession receiver. I personally like MVS. I think he's way kind of underrated a little bit. Certainly no one compares to Tyreek, but I do think. By the way, did you see any of our Raiders fans out here? What do you guys think about D-Rob? You guys sign D-Rob, we get rid of him, you sign him, and you cut him already. What's that tell you? Mahomes made D-Rob look pretty good, like above average anyways, at Kansas City. He played there I think he was there 4 or 5 years before. And they cut him. So anyways.
Yep. Okay.
I think that the talent is even though we got rid of Tyreek, I think the talent from a spectrum is a little bit larger in terms of across the board. We talked about that at the peak.
We talked about that a lot. They didn't. Their other receivers past those top two were just awful, and that proves it right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go, Nick. I agree. I liked him. I had him on my fantasy team last year. I liked watching him play. I thought he's a big guy. He's fat, but he's quick. He's not Tyreek quick, but he's quick for being how big he is. And so I think he'll help kind of stretch the field a little bit. And who the hell knows, right? What's Josh Gordon? What's he? I don't know. I mean, they still got him, but he hasn't been cut yet. But something's got to happen. He got some looks in preseason. It did not work. Did not go well. So, yeah, I'm honestly thinking not to give away our draft, Halterman, but you don't give a shit. So I'm like Mahomes, Kelsey. That'll be my first 2 picks. I don't even care that you don't take quarterback in the first round. I don't care. I just want them. We do a keeper league, so I plan on keeping Mahomes. So
who won that league last year, Jared?
Oh man, I gotta think about it. I'm not totally sure. I think he got really hot late. Was it you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Who was it? Didn't you have who was it you got someone that got real hot for your team?
I had a guy named Joe Burrow. He didn't do too bad.
Yeah, that's right.
And I had another guy named Najee Harris. He didn't do too bad either. Yeah, pretty good.
Well, Dave, Clyde Hiller, Buster breakout. This is it, right? This is his year. It's got to be one of the two, or else he's gone. I think he's been completely underwhelming since we drafted him, and I'm more on the fence of bust. I just don't think he doesn't. Here's the thing: since we've had him, I've been more excited when the other guy has gotten action. Like he just doesn't seem like he. It's like the talent's there, but he just doesn't. It doesn't explode through the holes. The way I said that, I was waiting. I just knew that. You got to explode through the holes, Halterman. He doesn't do it.
To put it in a better terms, he has not shown the explosiveness you thought he would have.
No. So this is the make or break year. They're not going to cut him, obviously, but I have not heard that he looks fantastic And of course, he's got some injury concerns as well. So we'll see. They got quite the rotation over there right now. People, Ronald Jones is over there now with the Chiefs. That new, we got a rookie, Pacquiao, whatever his name is. He's been looking really good in camp. So we'll see. The thing is, the Andy Reid offense, and like one of those guys will be good, right? Maybe not running the ball, but it'd be out of the backfield.
They really miss Damian Williams.
Tell me about it.
They haven't really replaced that. Well, before him, obviously Kareem Hunt, and what happened there was terrible. But yeah, maybe they could get him back. He's wanting to trade.
I know. People have been talking about it. They're like, no, we're not doing that.
Don't blame him. He's a beast, though.
Can you imagine if we had like, Charles with Mahomes?
That would be pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
That'd have been nice.
Been.
It could have been. Can't have it all, Chiefs fans. All right, that's a wrap, guys. It's great. I'm glad that we got to talk a little football here.
I did it for you and for the kids.
What did the kids care. Magic Mike Show. Make sure you go check them out. They did episode 400 today. I don't know what they did. The special. Did you watch that?
They didn't do anything.
Well, guess they don't care. I thought they had big hoopla. I tuned in for a second.
They did. I didn't watch it.
Magic was wearing something goofy. So
I didn't watch it.
They did the Saturday late pick 5 at Saratoga. So go get their analysis and hear whatever the hell they did on the show. Again, the Travers Guide. Make sure you guys look for that this weekend. That's it, Halterman. It's been real.
It's been fun.
But it's been real fun, right? All right, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend, guys.